back, and as promised to you, we are getting you exhaustive details of the Times Now Sea Voters survey today in the poll-bound states. So the focus tonight is on personalities and the big personalities clash that we are seeing. We're done with West Bengal. We move on to Kerala. First up, let me take you through the takeaways, the big highlights from what this survey has shown as far as the state of Kerala is concerned going into elections this season. Over 40% people are actually happy with the performance of Pinarayi Vijayan as the Chief Minister. Remember, Kerala is a state that since the 70s hasn't re-elected the same government even once. Since 1977, I believe, they've not brought back the same government. This time, though, the big question is, will that trend be, or will that record really be broken? Pinarayi Vijayan still seems to be a preferred face over Oommen Chandy, who comes in next at number 2 as the second most preferred chief ministerial face. We are also asked questions about how people are rating the performance of various other big personalities. For example, the performance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And interestingly, unlike the rest of the country, some of the southern states have a very different view to give, including Kerala, where 44.5% have rated Prime Minister Modi's performance as poor. Now, this may not necessarily be a big factor in the state elections, where any which ways the two key parties and alliances are LDF and UDF, the left and the Congress, with not much space really left for the BJP. Over 32% say they're satisfied with the work of Rahul Gandhi. Over 38% say they're angry with the present government, but believe, and a majority believes that the LDF will win. So these are the key highlights that and takeaways that we've got for you. Let me just break down the first one, which is about really how satisfied people are with the current government. And we're going to talk about Kerala, where a majority of persons say they are satisfied with the work that the current government has done. Now, I also want to take it across to our panelists who are joining us on this conversation and really see what they have to say. Jacob George, senior journalist, joins us this evening. Gilvester Assary, senior journalist with Deccan Chronicle, also joining us this evening. Jacob George, let me start off with you. Basis what we are seeing right now in these numbers, and also what you may be seeing on ground, is it a possibility this time around? Is that an open possibility that Kerala may just buck the trend of not bringing back the same government again?
You know, Kerala is a state where the people are more or less equally divided into the two political alliances, one UDF, as you said, and the other LDF. So it's a small margin of people, it's a small division of people who make the difference in an election. There could be even a simple cause which could tilt the balance in between the two. If it's UDF this time, it could be the LDF next time. That has been going on for some time now. But for the first time, you can see a government that has worked more or less efficiently, a chief minister who is strong enough to handle anything himself, and who he is capable of facing anybody face to face. He is too bold a person, and he is too strong a person as a politician and as an administrator. That's a big difference that you can see in the current election. So when Pinarayi Vijayan leads the LDF with a lot of promises, and of course with a lot of things that he has done for the state, and the lot of initiatives that he has taken to face all the challenges from the 2018 floods and the 2019 floods, Nipah virus, and the current the coronavirus. So there has been, you can see a steadiness in his performance. Hello, and you can see a determination in his governance. So I think that will pay a good amount of dividends in favor of left for the time being, but you cannot write off UDF as well.
Yes, in fact, you know, when we ask people how did they rate the performance of the current government, of the Pinarayi Vijayan government, there 35% said good, and 35% also said, 35.9% said, well, average, and 28.9% said poor. So if you say between good and average, there seems to be a majority that seems to be not okay with the current government's performance. When we ask them, how do you rate the overall performance of Pinarayi Vijayan as a chief minister, 40% higher than what his government got, 40% actually said, well, good, and 34.4%, pretty much the same as what his government's performance said, average. And 25 then said, well, poor. Now, so again, this is the question, and I don't know, if there is a large-scale agreement on Pinarayi Vijayan's factor. Gilvester, what's your view? What seems to be working for this chief minister that, really opens up this battle to say, well, we don't know, anybody could win this?
Well, there are many factors in these elections, because the way this government has functioned over the past 5 years, the way it has met the challenges that came across during this period, especially the back-to-back floods which Kerala witnessed. One of the floods was the biggest floods in a century, in which around 500 people lost their lives and 30,000 crore worth property was lost. At that time, the government dealt with that calamity in a very efficient manner. Secondly, the Nipah virus, which broke out in Kozhikode district, and they managed to contain that within that district. And the handling of the COVID also at the beginning, even though later there was some lapses the way they handled it, but overall they managed to keep the death rate very low, in fact one of the lowest in the world. So all these things have helped the government to gain the confidence of the people. And as far as the infrastructure development is concerned, yes, the government has done a lot of work as far as the highway development is concerned. And one of the major factors for the LDF government's policy programs were basically focused on the poor sections. The social welfare measures that they have implemented in the state over the past 5 years, where they have focused on the socially backward people, and they have given a lot of social welfare pension to the people, and also houses for the homeless and landless people. Over the last 5 years, they have managed to build almost 2 lakh houses. Now that's a big number, especially for the homeless and landless people. And also, as far as the education sector is concerned, there was focus on modernizing the schools and helping it with some IT infrastructure. So they have done a good job on that. As far as the health sector is concerned, they have created family health centers and also modernized the hospitals at the district and taluk levels. So all these works have definitely benefited the government. It has created a space in the hearts of the people of Kerala. But at the same time, there have been many other controversies, as you know, the gold smuggling case, the money laundering case, the dollar smuggling case. All these controversies have also ran parallelly over this period. But in the last, panchayat elections, which were held in December, these issues were discussed widely even at the local level. But despite these issues, the LDF managed to secure a handsome victory in the local body's poll, which in fact has strengthened its confidence, and it feels that it can do a repeat this time. As you yourself mentioned, that it would be a historic thing because it has never happened in the state of Kerala. But there are many other factors. You cannot rule out the UDF totally, the Congress-led party totally. Ummanchandi continues to remain a popular leader and a figure in Kerala, as also the organizational strength of Congress is not weakened in Kerala like other states in India. And the BJP, we need to watch very keenly and very closely how it's going to perform, because Kerala no longer is a bipolar political state now. The BJP has also started playing a crucial role in many constituencies. It has made it into a triangular contest. As you know that in the last 2016 election, it secured almost 16% votes. So all these factors are important. So as of now, we cannot say for sure that the LDF is going to win. But yes, LDF does seem to be leading at the moment as far as the public opinion is concerned.
Okay, in fact, you raised two very interesting issues, and let me take one of those to Jacob. Jacob, while yes, one part is the work that this government may have done, the way they may have, they've handled the floods or even the pandemic. The other that many people ask about is the controversies, the many scandals, the gold smuggling scam being the latest one, the corruption charges. Now, to your mind, has that played any part at all? Or does that kind of get diluted when you look at the other side and realize, oh, well, it's not as if to say that the other option, and perhaps, the Congress and Oomen Chandy have a relatively cleaner image?
I will start with Oomen Chandy first. Oomen Chandy is the most democratic, people-friendly chief minister he has been. And people love him like anything. He's such a people's chief minister. He was a people's chief minister. And he knows people by their name wherever he goes. Let it be Kasaragod, Kannur, or Kozhikode, or Trivandrum, or wherever. So such an advantage he has. But he is very old. He is slightly ill. There are the two negatives attached to Oomen Chandy. But basically, it is the opposition leader who can very well claim the chief ministership if it is UDF to win. So it is Ramesh Chennithila, who has been an efficient leader throughout his career, from his college life, from his KSU days, Youth Congress days. He was the national president of the NSUI in Delhi for a long time. And now he has been in Kerala politics for a long time now. He was a minister at the age of 26 when K. Karnakaran was our chief minister. So these are with Oomen Chandy. So he has a plus point, and he is a Christian leader, and with about a good percentage of Christian votes present in Kerala. Slightly, basically the Christians and basically the minorities are in favor of UDF in the state. They are the plus points with regard to UDF. And when we come to LDF, see, the CPM, the Communist Party of India, Marxist, the plus point with them is that they got a good, strong organization. The organizational network is very strong across the state. And they are secular, their secular attitude is, the credential is very strong. So naturally, irrespective of caste and religion, they have got a following across the state. That's a fact. That's a positive in favor of left. And another thing that goes in favor of the government, of the LDF, is the fact that they have a good governance behind them to support them in the electioneering, in the campaign. And they have got Pinarayi Vijayan on top. Again, he's a very good speaker in the sense he has a clarity when he speaks, when he attacks his opponents. Recently, a few days back, our National Union Home Minister was here, attacked him severely, but
yes,
Pinarayi Vijayan gave a fitting reply to him. And then coming about the gold smuggling and all, the CPM has got a very good platform to answer the questions raised by even Amit Shah or the central agencies, because the CPM is asking, even the government is asking them. There was gold smuggling. They got 2 or 3 people arrested. They got them arrested, including one ill-famous Swapna Suresh. But who brought the gold? The agencies have no answer. For him, it was purchased. Who has purchased it? For whom it was brought to Kerala through diplomatic baggages? And whom
so essentially, yes, essentially what you're also saying is that that may not have dented the credibility too much. And the way even the Kerala government has tackled these questions and responded, whether it's to the opposition, the Congress, or
Yeah,
even
they
the
have
BJP and the
effectively
central
handled
government
that
and asked
situation.
those questions, may have actually helped in Pinarayi Vijayan protecting his image. Yes, my apologies. We had to cut short our conversation because of the earlier breaking story, and we are still keeping a big track on what's happening in West Bengal. But Jacob George and Gilvester Assary, thank you so much for joining me with your views on a special segment that we had as far as our Kerala survey is concerned. I appreciate you taking the time out. Now, West Bengal done, Kerala done.